Welcome to Eagle Communications Channel 2. My name is James Holland. I'm the Executive Director of the Abilene Area Chamber of Commerce, and this is our show, Abilene Means Business. Today our guest is Brian Williams with Benjamin F. Edwards here in Abilene. And we're going to talk a little bit about the business, but then also a group of young professionals in Abilene and an organization that was put together and kind of talk a little bit about what they do and what their role is in the community and where they hope to go with fostering young professionals getting involved in the community and by setting that example, doing good for their businesses. So anyway, I want to welcome Brian.
Hey, thank you. Glad to be here.
Sure. Tell me a little bit about your company.
Okay. So Benjamin F. Edwards is a full-service investment and advisory firm, which is to say that we invest in all the stocks, bonds, mutual funds. We advise our clients and create custom sort of financial plans for them through every phase of their financial lives. We don't do sort of one-size-fits-all solutions. Every one of our clients, every one of our investors is unique, and so we treat everyone as a unique case. And we're different in a few ways. The first one is that we're an independent firm. We're a growing firm. This is a regeneration of A.G. Edwards. This firm is, which many people will recognize that name as well. Through various mergers and sales and acquisitions.
Yeah.
A.G. Edwards became something else and then broke off again and regenerated, like I said, as Benjamin F. Edwards and Company.
Sure.
The office here in Abilene is one of 3 in Kansas. There's one in Wichita and one in Leawood. Okay. There are offices in about 25 states, I believe. We have a couple hundred advisors in our firm. So it's a small but growing firm. But the strength of that firm is in the strength that's offered to our advisors to act in the best interest of our clients.
Sure.
And that's one of our primary ethics that we hold highest.
Yeah. Now, wasn't there a couple of years ago, there was some merger and changing of names of a number of different companies? It wasn't just A.G. Edwards.
Right. So after the financial collapse of 2008 and all the government intervention that occurred after that, there were several mergers and acquisitions, and certain investment firms were purchased by bank holding companies, and then others have broken off and regenerated. And Benjamin F. Edwards is one of those. Yes.
I wonder who that ultimately helped out.
Yes.
Makes you wonder how. And
yep.
Your intervention, and I know your the insurance, banking, and investments are 3 areas where the government definitely is very, very involved. One of the things that's kind of, and this is, I don't know how you want to answer this, but it seems to me like in Abilene, a town of 6,500 people,
mm-hmm.
it seems like we have a lot of banks, a lot of realtors, a lot of financial advisors. What's your sense of attributing that to being the case?
Well, I think even in a community that's at the core of a much larger region, such as Abilene, there's quite a bit of business that's done in the community in Abilene that's generated from outside sort of the city limits.
Sure.
So a lot of our clients reside throughout the state, throughout the country, and I know that it's a similar situation with some of the other investment firms here in town as well. But Abilene truly is and remains a center for commerce and business in the region.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it's kind of interesting. We are the Abilene Area Chamber of Commerce, and it's interesting how many. I don't think people really realize how many people from out of this town either shop or invest or whatever in the community, and that's a positive thing, and that's probably a topic for another discussion sometime. But so tell me a little bit about your philosophy in general. I know you say it's very specific to the individual investor, but what are kind of those core principles that you hold to?
Sure. Well, first of all, in our office, we take a team approach to every client. There are 3 of us who act as financial consultants or advisors in our office, Patty O'Malley, mm-hmm. Myself, and Amanda Cormack. And each of us have our own area of specialization and our own sort of specialized knowledge and expertise. Patty's is and has been for years has been in municipal bonds and fixed income. Where a lot of investors these days are seeking stability and seeking stability, especially in income. through the retirement years.
Yeah.
One of the unique facets of our office and one of the strengths of our firm is in our fixed income department. And so when it comes time to stabilize an investor's portfolio, whether it be nearing retirement or through retirement, and generating income off their portfolio, that's one of the areas where we find is a strength that we possess through the blend of the strength of our firm and the connections that we have in our fixed income and bond desk, as well as through the specialization and the expertise, the long developed that Patty possesses. So that's a real strength in our office and frankly in our community.
Sure.
And then my area of expertise is more in financial planning and in equity markets. Obviously, in most portfolios, you have a fixed income and then an equity sleeve. But there are also other components to consider, such as long-term care and insurance. You know, one of the great risks to many investors' investment portfolios will be the cost of long-term care in retirement. What we're seeing as we as humans live longer through greater medical advances, but also higher medical costs, is that can be the greatest risk to the success of a long-term financial plan. And so Amanda Cormack is specifically specializing in our office in long-term care as well as other financial planning tools and solutions to assist our investors and clients in that arena.
Yeah, and you definitely don't want to outlive your assets because
that's exactly right.
You find yourself making some choices you'd rather not make.
Moving back in with your kids, or becoming a
grandkids,
or just somebody. Yes.
Cases,
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I kind of tell my kids that I plan not to be a thorn in their side when I get older. So yeah, it's important to do that for whether you're thinking about long term or not. If you're in your 30s, just think about, boy, what if grandma moved in with me? I don't want to be that grand person to somebody down the road. So.
My aunt, who is the trustee of my grandparents' estate, keeps threatening me with moving my grandfather back in with me if we can't make his estate meet his needs for the rest of his life.
Well, that's I'm sure you say that while you're carving the turkey. I'm sure that's wonderful.
But it's a real problem for a lot of people, and a lot of that planning goes hand in hand with understanding how to maximize Social Security as well. You know, that's another area of concern that a lot of our clients have, and a lot of other people, even our age and younger. Will Social Security be available for me when it's time for me to need Social Security? And so what we tell our clients who are older is that their Social Security is relatively safe, but we need to plan for contingencies and find other solutions. But frankly, for those of us who are in our generation or younger, the need for Social Security is real, but the reality is that it may be a reduced benefit from what our parents and grandparents are experiencing now. So we look to find other solutions for them.
The reality of it is, and whether you like the term Ponzi scheme or not, kind of looks like one in some ways. And the thing is that, it's politically there would be pitchforks at the door if those who've been paying in for so many years all of a sudden have it taken away or significantly reduced. I mean, we know it doesn't keep up with cost of living as it is, but long term they've managed to avoid the coming of crowds to take care of that situation. But I've always wondered, and this is once again another topic for another venue maybe, is if the government did say, if you're 25 now, you can opt out and do private investing on your own, and kind of wind the system down some way, or say you've got this much equity in your Social Security, let's turn that over to some kind of bond or something else, some other instrument. I know that would wreak havoc on the markets, but it would just be, if you're really, really concerned about it, there's got to be some way to wind it down. So anyway, that's an editorial.
But barring that, we as individuals have responsibilities to ourselves and our families, definitely, to ensure that our lifetime income stream is one that is reliable and we can't outlive even without Social Security in the event that it's not there for us.
That's true. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, well, tell me a little bit about our viewers anyway, because I know a little bit about it. Tell me about the Young Professionals Organization here in Abilene.
Sure. So the Young Professionals Organization is a relatively new organization in the community here. There were a group of a number of us here in the community, and we solicited membership from the group of young professionals between the ages of 21 and 40-ish. We like to say if you're young at heart, then you're a young professional.
I appreciate
and you're welcome
That's
in that
great.
group.
Yeah.
But back in the fall of 2014, we had several sort of interest meetings to determine what the participation could be and the interest might be in forming a group. And the goal of the Young Professionals Organization is to promote the next generation of business and community leaders in the Abilene area.
Okay. Yeah, and I've been to a couple of meetings. Actually, the first one I went to, I kind of asked that question, do I belong here as a young professional? And because I felt like I had a leg in one camp because I'm over 40,
mm-hmm. but barely.
But barely.
Yeah.
But I also, of course, have a child who's hasn't entered the public school system yet. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to be certainly mingling with those folks when that time comes. So it seems like something that I should certainly be involved in, not just because of my position at the chamber, but I think if there's other people out there that are interested in fostering the next group of leaders in Abilene. And when I say the next group of leaders, I'm talking about people who I like to just kind of describe it as people who have 30 to 40 years to make a living in town and are going to invest in town. And those are the core people that are going to get the benefits and the heartache of how Abilene grows in the next 30 years. And so, those people have a vested interest, and that's in part, I think, why most people would agree to be a part of it. And so maybe that's kind of telling, maybe that's a good segue into what are kind of the objectives, at least at this point, of the organization.
Sure. Well, I like what you said about fostering that sort of community of people that's going to take on the mantle, who will take on the mantle of growing the community in both good times and bad times in the next 30 to 40 years.
Yep.
And so that's our objective, is really supporting that growth and supporting the community and the Chamber of Commerce efforts. And we've established three sort of pathways for doing that. The first one is networking. So getting to know each other in the community, developing relationships with those who will grow up together, so to speak, and become that next generation of leaders in the community. So that's one of those things that occurs naturally when we have the second and third objectives. And the second objective is professional growth. So we want to support each other in our professional growth, our individual and collective professional growth. All of us come with different and varied backgrounds and expertise, areas of specialization and emphasis, and a good knowledge base. We've all had a varied path in arriving here in Abilene.
Yeah.
And all of us collectively can benefit from each of the individuals' particular strengths in the way that we all sort of arrived here. Mm-hmm. So that's our second sort of pathway. And our third pathway is through community involvement. And so what we want to do is both identify and grow opportunities for community involvement from our members, to benefit the community, to strengthen not only those who might come after us, and sort of develop that group of young people into a strong workforce, right. But also make sure that those both in our age group and those younger than us might understand that there are great opportunities to stay, live, work, and grow a family here in Abilene. Yeah,
and that's one of the major things I've heard in my time in Abilene is, and it's not unique to us. It's a rural phenomenon. Is the brain drain. We raise through our public schools some very bright and talented children who then go off to school to better themselves and never come back. And that's an investment that of course you make as a family. It's a very personal thing, but also as a community and the school district, you're making this investment in the children of this community. Ultimately, with no long-term benefits to the community itself. And maybe that's a strong statement to say, maybe no one's put it that way. But that certainly does seem to happen. Although, having said that, the YP does have a number of kids who grew up here. I say kids, they're adults now, but they grew up here.
Grew up as children here.
And some of them have gone off, started careers, and came back and found that opportunity. So, and that's the kind of thing that you want to foster. Great.
Absolutely. And we hear various reasons for that among our members. A lot of those reasons include coming back because you realize the value of living in a community like Abilene. A lot of people will say, sure, I went away to college, sure, I went away, and I thought I needed to start in my career in Wichita or Kansas City or Manhattan or Salina, but boy, I really realized the value of living in a community like Abilene, and that value, first of all, I can definitely meet my economic needs here, my financial needs in a community like this, but there's an intrinsic value here as well. So you're absolutely right. There are quite a few members in our group and others as well who moved away for a period of time, came back. Some came back to help run the family business or to take over a family business or to come back and be closer to family care from a mom and dad or a grandparent.
Sure.
But there seems to be, even for those who might go away for a period of time, sort of a calling back in this direction. And so that's one of those things that we want to make sure to be able to foster and grow as well. Yeah,
and I think that dovetails really well into something that you hear about quite a bit is business transitioning. And if you're a local business, and I'm talking to you right there through the camera, you've had a business in town. You're probably 3 or 4 years out from retiring. You're going to reach your goal, and you want to do that. It's time to start thinking, okay, what do I do with the business now? And rather than having it liquidated and losing that asset, which is both tangible and intangible in the community, maybe finding a way to find that local talent that's willing to take that over at some point and make that transition a smooth one. I think that's something that's going to be very valuable. And when I talk about 30 to 40 years, we want some of these businesses to have a 120-year life in town, and getting the new ownership, younger people involved is one way to kind of make that happen. So
absolutely, and our group would like to be a resource as well for some of those business owners and businesses who might be seeking out a transition plan.
Right.
Like I said, a lot of us have varied backgrounds and have developed professional networks and personal networks that far exceed the geographic boundaries that we might envision here. So what we want to do is be a resource. If there are businesses, if there are business owners who are seeking opportunities to either begin, initiate, or sort of a transition plan, or they have a transition plan in place but are looking just for that right person, then our group can be a resource for people like that through our professional and personal networks.
Reaching out and reaching to alumni of Abilene High, for instance, that some of you know, other people in college, as you've mentioned, that
certainly,
that network can be valuable, and it's just putting the pieces together that's important. I think the last point I want to visit, just kind of mention about the YP, and a town without ingenuity and new thinking is going to die on the vine. And I think having young professionals getting involved in the community and sharing new ideas on how to run businesses and on how to promote the community, how to learn about businesses it's an intangible, but you can see the effects over time on what that can do to the community. I mean, we need Abilene is kind of at a crossroads of needing to recreate itself. I think we just demographically and the things that people know Abilene for, that's going to be a necessity over the next couple of decades. Sure,
we need to continue to evolve as a community.
Yeah. If you and I want to make a living here, that's what we need to do. So, absolutely.
Good, but I do want to highlight, if I could, one of the projects that we have and a partnership we're developing with the school district here is going into the high school and sharing some of the expertise that we possess as a group, as each of the individuals in this group, with some of the high school students. So what we'd like to do is, and we're developing this opportunity with Dr. Guy and a lot of the professionals in the school district, is in sort of mentorship and career development opportunities to grow that even the next generation behind us or coming up younger than us of talent in the community, and making connections with those students so that they understand that there are opportunities here, demonstrate that others before them have made those opportunities for themselves, but also in supporting their growth and development, whether it's through professional etiquette, business dining sort of etiquette, resume building, professional sort of etiquette in the workplace.
Right.
We want to make sure that our young people behind us, in this age of everyone being stuck in their screens and their smartphones and losing sort of that personal touch of what it frankly takes to run a business, particularly in a small community. We want to make sure that those skills are developed and support the efforts that already exist in the high school in developing those skills and those intangibles. A lot of times you think of those as intangibles. It's nothing you can write out on a resume that's a tangible skill. But if you go and you meet someone with a sloppy dead fish handshake, that's an intangible sort of quality that portrays something about you. So we want to make sure that our students are well prepared to enter the workforce, whether they enter the workforce here in Abilene or elsewhere, and represent the community well.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Those are things we used to learn around the dinner table at my house, So, how to, where to put your napkin and how to put your forks and those types of things. And
Absolutely.
How
to show up for a job interview on
It's
time.
amazing how those things that you took for granted are now just almost lost arts. It's frightening, but anyway. I appreciate your efforts.
Hey, thanks very much.
Yep, and we're looking forward to lots of great things. I speak for the community here in the chamber, coming out of the group and some of the ideas you guys are putting together. It's pretty awesome.
Well, I guess I'll speak for the young professionals and say that our partnership with the chamber was instrumental in being able to initiate this group, and being supported by the traditional chamber structure was critical in getting this group started. So this truly is sort of a joint collaborative effort, and we wouldn't be where we are as a group partnered with the chamber without the chamber's guidance and leadership. So thanks for that.
Well, we've only started, right?
Yes,
we
absolutely.
got a long ways to go.
Absolutely.
So, all right, thanks, Brian.
Hey, thank you.
Okay. And before we leave you today, I want to just kind of mention a number of things that are going on at the chamber, a couple of events that we have coming up. So if you have your smartphone with your calendar on it, all right, start plugging these in. I'm going to look at my notes here real quick so I get my dates and places correct. September 15th at 5 p.m. at the Memorial Health Systems Hospital. We're going to have a ribbon cutting for the new sleep lab. It's a facility they've developed, and some of you may have heard of CPAP and insomnia, those types of things. Anyway, that lab is going to have a ribbon cutting on September the 15th at 5 p.m. The public is welcome to that. And then also on the September 29th, there is a chamber after hours at 5 o'clock at the Civic Center. And that's going to be for Brian Teichman and American Family Insurance and Midwest Hearing. So their office is, in terms of space, challenged to have an after hours. So we're going to hold it at the Civic Center. And so there'll be food, dining, or not dining, but drinks, great conversation, and opportunities to win door prizes and raffles and such. So once again, that one is September 29th at 5 p.m. at the Civic Center. So we hope to see you there as well. And I think that kind of wraps it up for this month. We'll see you next month with a new guest and some new events coming. For the Abilene Area Chamber of Commerce, I'm James Holland. I want to appreciate your viewership. Thank you.